And joining me today is Michael Aswell, who fights Bogdan Grad at Dana White's Contender Series Week 3. That fight is on August 27th. So, Michael, I like to start all of these interviews. I do a lot with the Contender Series folk. How'd you get the call? When you got that word that you were going to be on the show, that you were going to get this chance to fight in front of Dana White, what were the feelings like?
Yeah, before my last fight, my promoter and my manager told me that if I won the fight that, I would get the call. So I won in the first round and I really knew I was going to get that call. So it was more of just like a waiting game, kind of like when's it going to come in? And, so my manager FaceTimed me with Eric Garcia, who's the promoter of Fury. And he kind of just told me like, "Hey, we got the call. You're going to be on, Dana White's Contender Series. Be ready." And that was kind of it. And for me, it was super cool. But I'm more of like, I need to see the contract before I can really before I can really believe that is like, everyone could say something, but you never know until it's in writing and you sign on the dotted line, and then it's like, okay, now it's official,
And
right?
so,
So.
so when the contract does come in the mail or email or however we do it in this day and age, when you finally do see your name on that printed Dana White's Contender Series contract, was it like a sigh of relief that like it was there and you could now see it's definitely official?
Oh yeah, it's more like, oh, let's lock in. It's like real. This is real. This is happening. This is no, this could happen. You might be fighting out. It's like this is happening, and then, of course, once you get like the 20 pages of medicals and paperwork that you need to fill out, then it's like, oh, okay, this is actually real. It's a lot we got to do before we can even fight.
Yeah, for sure. Now, I want to take you back to that Fury title fight just a little bit too, because like you said, it ended super quick. You got the work done fast. You knocked him out. But you had that pressure going in, right? Like this, not only a win would get you on Contender Series, but like you want to look good doing it too. You didn't want the most boring title fight in there. Did you feel extra pressure going into that title fight to make this entertaining, to make this spectacular, to get out of there quick?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I have an entertaining style already, but there's always that, if you go to decision, then it's like, does this guy really deserve to get that shot? If he's not taking out the local guys, how's he supposed to take out the guys in the UFC, right? So it's always that we want to get that finish. We want to be able to show that, hey, we can finish these guys locally. We can do it to the same guys, in the UFC. But not really pressure. There's more people that have, worse things in life, and more pressure to deal with than me winning or losing a fight, So the fight's all the same. I just had to go in there and fight like I fight and let everything else take care of itself the way it does, and now we're here and it's been working out so far. So
Yeah, I love that outlook. I love that outlook. Now, I want to ask you about, sort of your mentality because you do have like a veteran's mentality. Obviously, you've got a good head on your shoulders. I have to imagine some of that comes from being in the fight game for a while because I know you're a young guy. You're not by any means, an old veteran of the sport. But I do know you took your first fight when you were 17. Am I wrong about that?
that's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So what got you into fighting in your teens? What got you into thinking, MMA is the path for me at that age?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like the maturity for me is more, has to do along with my coach, my first ever coach I had. I was trained by Coach Saul Solis, one of the, OGs, veterans in the game, trained Tito, Rico Rodriguez, and a lot of just the OG guys, in Pride, and the UFC when it just started. So a lot of my, where I learned was just old school, back in the day, none of this flashy stuff. It was just kind of hard nosed grind type of work, and I feel like they kind of just catapulted me to a more mature state and, learning how to fight through adversity and, just how not to get broken, as much as you're getting broken in every practice and, um, but I was just an all around athlete. I never really knew I wanted to fight specifically. It was just more, I did all the sports and football, baseball, basketball, like you name it, I pretty much played it all. And there was one year I really wasn't playing football. There was like a requirement about like age or weight where I couldn't play. So I had kind of like a dead year of just kind of nothing. And that's not, I'm just active. So I got to be doing something. And the girls that cheered for my football team were doing jujitsu at the time at Coach Saul Solis's gym. And they were just like, "Hey, you should try it out. You're not doing anything. We think you'd be really good at it. See if you like it." So I went over there, tried my first class, and remember getting choked out like 4 or 5 times by like purple belts and stuff, and just kind of like, like my mom said she'll never forget like my face after my first class. Like I was just like, "Oh, this is awesome!" like. And it was more of an individual sport that I never really had the aspect of doing. I did a lot of team sports and stuff. I'm getting another call. Let me see if I fix this time. Okay, cool. Um, so it was more individual sport. It was more like if I mess up, it's on me. There's no one else to blame but myself. So, that was kind of the start of it. I started playing football again in high school. Didn't really do as much jujitsu as I was, at that time. And then I started wrestling in high school again, or not again, but I started wrestling in high school. And just, I guess in my mind, it was kind of like, well, if I go back to the jiu-jitsu gym, maybe it'll help with my wrestling, type of deal. And, I went back and I started doing all the classes. I started, to cut weight, to get into lower wrestling class and stuff. And my coach kind of pulled me into the side in like his office and just told me that, they see something special in me and that I could be, great and he could make me a champion, if I just keep putting in the work. And he's like, if you get to 145 pounds, he's like, I'll let you fight for me, I'll corner you and stuff. And that's all I kind of needed was just like a little bit of a challenge,
Yeah. And so then I gotta ask too, so Sosalis, this legendary coach, he pulled you into your office. He puts this, sort of confidence in you. Then you do make the weight. You are able to like drop down, get to the weight class he says he has to. Your first fight, is he in your corner? And if so, like, what is it like to have like, such a legendary coach in your corner for an amateur fight?
and that's the thing is like, if Coach Saul, he did not play any games. If he told you something, that's really what he believes. So him pulling me into his office and telling me that it like made me believe everything he told me was like the Bible to me. I would tell people, like if he said to do it, I'm doing it. 100 push-ups, 100 steps every day. He's like, that's all you need to do. You don't need to lift weights. I'm like, sounds good. Like, just old school stuff, like you don't need to do all this crazy stuff. Just go run your 3 miles every day, do your push-ups and your sit-ups, and then just come to practice, and just having him is the reason I'm the fighter I am today. I mean, if he's the only coach I ever had, so when he passed, it definitely I was lost for a little bit, like not sure where I should go, what I should do. But, without him, I wouldn't be where I'm at. I wouldn't have the foundation that I am to be able to expand on what I like to do and how I like to fight. So, I mean, having him was the biggest blessing in my life for sure, without a doubt.
And so, again, really tragic loss way too early, and you find yourself in this sort of void of like not having a coach. Did you ever think about leaving, 4 ounces? Did you think about moving to one of those bigger gyms? Was it, kind of the guys around you were sort of helped what get you through that tough time? The Daniel Pinedas and the other UFC guys of that gym.
Okay, so Coach Saul started Metro Fight Club. So that's kind of where I was my whole career at Metro. And we had a bunch of good guys over there. And I was just kind of lost and I didn't really know where to go. So I started, I traveled. I kind of was like, I need to get away. So I went to Kansas City, Missouri, and I trained with like James Krause and like the Glory people before all that crazy stuff happened. But I was there, for a couple months, and I was training with them and getting really good work with a lot of guys, a lot of UFC fighters and stuff. And I was feeling comfortable. I was learning a lot, and it was kind of the first time I felt, a little better since, like maybe this could be my coach, right? Potentially. And then won a couple big fights when I was over there at Glory. And I was like, this could be the gym. And then all that stuff happened. And I'm like, oh, great. All right. Well, I guess I got to go find another place. And so I kind of went back to Houston. I was kind of training back at Metro. But, since Saul hasn't been there, it really just hasn't felt like Metro. It's kind of just, something was missing. He is Metro. So, I trained over there for a little bit. kind of finding my footing. I was going in between from there and like Heritage, which I really liked, I enjoyed it. Just, something was just, felt off or missing, and that's when I had my first loss against Yadier. And then after that, I kind of like fractured my foot a little bit. So I took a couple months off, and then I was kind of just contemplating, what I should do, where I should go. And I trained a couple of times at 4 ounce, and one of the older guys at our gym, Jacob Silva, was like, "Hey man, go over to 4 ounce. I'm telling you, you're gonna like it." Da da da. And I went, and it's almost like I found that thing I was looking for. That spark or that it's so hard. It just felt like it was like where I was meant to be almost. So having Daniel there too was a big reason why I wanted to go over there. He's a featherweight in my weight class, in the UFC. So it kind of gives me a sense of where I need to get to. He's been in the game forever, and at the time, it's like I needed more finishes. That guy has 29 wins, 29 finishes. There ain't no better person to go to than the guy who's got a 100% finish rate.
Yeah.
So I went over there, and so started training there in November. That's when I took that first fight with them against Altum in January. And man, I felt like I looked really good. I felt really good. And then we just had this last fight together. So, having them, it's almost giving me a new sense of, like relief, kind of just happiness, kind of just feeling almost like myself when the coach was, back. So I can't thank them guys enough for just bringing me in and, allowing me to, be with there and be a part of the team. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. So, because I started with Metro, and then, was kind of finding my way, and then I got to 4 ounce.
I like that. I like that. And obviously it's working for you. And let's talk about the next step it's got to work for you at. And that's obviously Dana White's Contender Series. You're getting Bogdan Grad as an opponent. Now, he's been on the show once before. Obviously, it didn't go his way, but he's picked up a couple of wins since to get a second chance. What were
Hmm.
sort of your thoughts on both him being somebody who's been on the show before and sort of what you saw from him stylistically?
Yeah, no, it's cool. I mean, it's definitely gonna make him want to be even there more, right? It's like he lost the first one. He's like, I really got to get this one. There's not many people that get two opportunities, right? So he's going to be coming out firing. For me, whoever, it didn't matter if it was Bogdan Grad, another guy, or whatever. I was still going to go in there and do my thing. He's a tough guy. He's strong. He fought at 55 a lot, so he's very big. He's gonna be very strong. He throws a lot of wild things, a lot of spinning stuff. He comes out hot, and I mean, they're pretty good matchmakers if they're putting us together. They know we're both going to come forward and it's going to be a good fight. So, yeah, he's good, man. I mean, especially at this level, there's not going to be many guys that aren't that good. Everyone at this level are trying to get to the next level. And if we're all trying to get to the next level, that means we're at a certain level already. That's pretty good. So, yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm just ready to go. And I'm just happy to be able to get an opportunity to prove myself. It's all I've ever asked for is just an opportunity.
Absolutely. And you led me right to where I like to be. So give me a prediction. How's this one end August 27th?
Ooh, how's this one end? He's gonna come out hot in the first. It's gonna be a finish, probably second round, maybe third. Honestly, I mean, he's a tough guy. I'm a tough guy. We're gonna be swinging, so it's all about who's gonna be able to stay alive until the second or third, and whoever gives up first. And I don't really give up, so I think I finished him second or third. I think something like that.
All right. Well, you heard it here first, folks. This has been Michael Aswell, who fights Bogdan Grad, Dana White's Contender Series, Week 3. Once again, that fight, August 27th. Michael, thank you so much for the time, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, sir, man. I appreciate you.